Thank you so much, Miss Lena, for that wonderful speech. And happy to see you. I've heard about you a long time, and I'm glad to see you today. And thank you for accepting our invitation. Well, before I introduce the panel, I will first like to take this opportunity to thank every one of you for taking your precious time to be here at the Liberian Business Alliance Grand Virtual Launch. Theme being the bridge. My name is Chris Peters, and once again, my role is head of media and tech. Now, today we have an amazing panel of entrepreneurs and professionals who will be we'll be talking about their perspectives on how we all can support the economic development in Liberia. They are Lena Marshal. Lena Marshal is the executive director of the charity foundation called the Lena Marshal Foundation, vice chair of the Liberian Women's Empowerment Network Europe, European coordinator of Health Page Liberia Incorporated, and managing director of Sadea Global Enterprises Limited. Next on the panel, we have with us Reverend Dr. Akoi Massayan Bazzie. He's the founder and overseer of the Christ Abiding Ministries, both UK and Liberia, an expert consultant in forced migration and refugee protection, the UK and United Nations. And the last but not the least on our panel is Henry Treku. Henry Treku is an experienced leader with a demonstrated capacity for innovation and a breakthrough in business consulting and information technology industry. He currently leads the UK-Liberian Chamber of Commerce in London as one of the founding members. And chairing the panel is our dynamic founder and president of the Liberian Business Alliance, Mrs. Sabrina Clarke-Okwubanego. Once again, you are all welcome.
Thank you, Chris, and welcome panelists. Come off video, come onto the video so we can see your beautiful faces as you contribute to the conversation this evening. So let's get straight into the conversation. A lot of food for thought from our keynote speaker who spoke about our theme for tonight, which is being the bridge. That is the theme of our launch. And Ms. Bowie spoke about the ways that we can be a bridge. And so the first question, which I will direct to you, Lena, how do you think the business community can be a bridge for the economic empowerment of Liberia?
First thing, let me just say good evening to everyone. Thank you, Sabrina, for inviting me as a panelist this evening. In terms of how do I think that the business community can become a bridge for the economic empowerment of Liberia? First of all, we need to understand why an economic empowerment is important. And this increases access to economic resources and opportunities, including jobs, financial services, as well as property and other productive assets. So we can become a bridge in terms of creating jobs for our people, training workers, building physical infrastructure, procuring raw materials. All of these, these things will help us build a bridge.
Thanks, Lena. And Reverend Dr. Akoi Massayan Bazzie, and I always smile when I say this because I can never just say his name. I can't do it. It will have to be with Reverend Doctor or Reverend or Doctor. What is your perspective on this question? Same question. What can the business community, how can the business community be a bridge for the economic empowerment of Liberia?
Thank you very much, Sabrina, for the invitation. It's for me, it's a privilege. I don't think I'm offering anything by coming here apart from getting so much from here. I've already listened to one of my special person, Miss Lena Bowie. Her rainbows are just a kind of confirmation of my colors within the rainbow. You know, as I was looked after by my mother at the age of, from the age of 1. And I flee Liberia because of the war at the age of 14 and live on my own all through. So when you talk about young people and women, that's what I see in Liberia. And my mother did that by doing small business like restaurant business and frying color to support all of us. So hats up to the women and young people, great hope for them. Let's just come back to the question. I think for me, I'm much more around behavior. So when we're talking about how I think that a business community can be the bridge, I want to first of all think about how does the business or the Liberian community, the business community within the Liberian organization, consider themselves as a business community today? What does that mean for them? Because that is very important in the area of the culture of comfortability. You know, sometimes people are very comfortable just with the first step of success and everything is gone down. The other thing I want to look at is the developmental mindset. Okay, when we're in business, where do we look? Do we look in the pot? Because I do this. I work for ARC, Lutheran World Service, and UNHCR in the camp doing income generation projects, supporting small businesses. Most of the time when they took one step forward, it was in the pot. Let's eat. Even for farmers, they will eat the sea rice. If you're going to plant the sea rice and you eat that, then you will see that's the end of your productivity. So that's the first thing I want to be looking at. What are the Liberian business community in the UK understand their positionality? Where do they stand? What are the understand identity and where the areas they cover? The second thing would be basically let's look at the characteristic of a bridge. You know, you are bridging and you have to look at your capacity. How much low can you take as a bridge before people cross over you? So people easily giving up when things get slightly difficult. And we learned from Ms. Lena around it's not easy, but it's possible. But we have to look at the possibility. When I teach my community, I look at knowledge and perseverance. When you know what you want, how you want it, to persevere is no longer a problem. We can just go through that because our mind is set on what we're going to achieve. So those are the points I want to make initially.
Thank you. And also hearing from you on the same question, Henry, what is your perspective? How can the business community be a bridge for the economic empowerment of Liberia?
All right, thank you, Sabrina. Thank you. I would say that firstly, we must acknowledge that the business community is critical to the development of Liberia's economic empowerment strategy. Now, for us to become, or for the business community to become a bridge, firstly, they must be united. So there must be a unified course that, okay, you know what, we are coming together. And once the business community is together, they must identify different value chains that they can integrate either their skills, their expertise, or their resources. And once that has been identified, there has to be a plan. So this plan must tie into national development strategies. And some of this could mean that, okay, my colleague did mention job creation, capacity building initiatives. These are all critical to kickstarting the economic development process. And it is very important that the business community has one agenda in pursuing this growth. Of course, creating jobs means that there is going to be industries from the private sector, and with industries being built, it is an escape route from poverty. It also means that businesses can thrive based on the expertise that are being channeled through from the business community. And the second thing I'd like to mention is diaspora remittances. It's very important. If you look at the micro level, diaspora remittances is one of the main ways by which local marginalized communities and societies survive. If you look at Liberia, for example, in 5 years, starting from 2015 to 2020, remittances stands just under $39 million US. comparatively very low as compared to other parts of the region. So this is one of the ways, and there's more for the business community to do. And I believe that just creating jobs, increasing our remittances into the country to help marginalized communities will help to kickstart the economic empowerment in Liberia.
Thank you. And Dr. Bazzie, coming back to you. So Henry just ended off talking about remittances, and that is definitely a way, a core way to start to engage and be a bridge. From your perspective, what are some of the strengths that the either professional and or business community has in the United Kingdom?
Right, okay, so just drawing quickly from my experience, I sometimes call myself professional because, and I have business insight, and if I like, I can say business right here. As a professional, my primary work is to work with the UNHCR and paid to support my family, but I also have a foundation. So this foundation is registered with Company House, but I do lecture at the university. So 3 or 4 universities, we talk about forced migration, and whatever proceed I get from there is right into that business. So we are building daycare center, for example, in Liberia and supporting people. I think the key around this is the strength for us as a business person, a professional, is how much opportunities there are here. People like yourself, LBA, we have the UK-LCC, the wealth of knowledge they got, the ability they got to prepare me without struggling. I was in Liberia 2018, and I would see people yearning for knowledge, but it's not available. But I can just call Henry, I can just call you, and I can get that. I can call Sister Lena, I know I can get there. So the strength is around us, and it's just too much for us to actually make any excuses. So let the community get together and make use of our own Liberians who have got this strong expertise internationally. Tap into it. Don't sit there, because you can't actually become a bridge if you can't even handle yourself. So we have to get the capacity before getting out there.
Thank you, Dr. Bazzie. Lena, what's your perspective on the same question? What do you think the strengths are of the professional and business community within the UK and Ireland? Liberians, of course.
Definitely having a direct access to the European market, as we're in Europe. Well, if you want to put it that way.
As we were.
Yeah, and as well as other international contacts. I think this is a key for us to build that bridge between ourselves here, as well as to our Liberian counterparts on the ground. They can connect through us, and then we can connect through the European market or wherever in Europe to build that bridge for them. We also, I think our strength is that our ability to influence policy, which definitely is key. We've got experience in community development as well. And they form a unique network of purposeful, leaders to share insights, expertise. It creates innovative programs that deliver impact. So in terms of our strengths, when you put all of that together, I think that's what makes us, unique from this side.
Thanks, Lena. And Henry, I'm going to ask you a different question, but while you're coming off mute, I'm going to ask you what you think the challenges are of the Liberian professional and business community. And while you're reflecting and coming off mute, just to the audience, if you have any questions for our panelists, please put that in the chat, and I will be watching what is happening and asking and feeding in your questions to the panelists. So as we progress, if you have any questions, pop that in the chat and I will integrate it into our conversation. But coming back to you, Henry, and different question. What do you think the challenges are for the Liberian professional business community in the United Kingdom?
All right, thank you again. I think one of the key challenges the Liberian business community face in the UK is, from my experience, most of them are still operating at margins of society. And this is because of weak social, economic, and political position that some of these businesses or members find themselves. There are issues compounded by lack of clear-cut structure strategy. And there's also issues that has been compounded by the disadvantage of the fact that most Liberians that are in the UK or in the diaspora community, they have issues with severe, maybe capacity constraints. And these are all things. So for example, it does limit their involvement in the development back home, because these are the things that, you know, we as business organizations or like ourselves would have to look at, because there are a lot of assets for professionals living in the UK from all parts of the world to tap into. But sometimes the lack of knowledge and the know-how and the structures that are needed to tap into these resources are not there. So I think this is one of our main, because a lot of Liberians would love to help, but firstly, as Reverend Dr. Bazzie did mention, they first need to help themselves, get on their fields, and without the right structures and the right platforms to have that, share that information, share that knowledge, and be able to understand even how things would work. I think it's one of our biggest challenges so far. And I think that is the reason why, I commend organizations like yourself and for these initiatives, because this is how we bring people together, because we need to understand from the numbers how we can support. And this is why this initiative becomes so important.
Thank you, Henry. And same question to you, Lena. What do you think the challenges are for the Liberian professional and business community here in the United Kingdom?
I think one of the most important one is access to finance. As an African-based business, sometimes it's difficult to get loans for whatever reason they give you. But I think we do not have also an organization, and I'm so happy that, you know, the Liberian Business Alliance is there now. We don't have an organization to come together where we can support each other. So I'm sure this might be one of your goals by bringing us together. You know, we need that support base that we can turn to, you know, whatever question, whatever issues we've got. You know, we may not be capacitated to get loans or may not know how to go about doing that, but coming to you guys, you know, we can bridge you're a bridge as well.
We can bridge the susu.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's important having an organization like yours. So.
Thank you, Dr. Bazzie. Same question. What do you think some of the challenges are for professionals and business in the business community here in the United Kingdom?
Let me just congratulate you because you have a kind of good sense of organization. You probably have done this for a long time. The panelists today got specialties. So I'm not going to talk about finance when you're here. I'm not going to talk about international connection when Linda is here. I'm not going to talk about, you know, Pan-African business when Henry is here. What I want to focus on in terms of challenge, the issue here is not actually about the Liberian people ability to do business, Liberian communities or professionals. It is about their availability. You see, now we have a huge awareness raising right now. I follow your November event and I've been signposting people to listen to it. I've listened to Henry before. I've listened to Sis Linda for many times. And I know you raise awareness, even though you tackle issue, but you let Liberians to be aware that things are around. It's difficult, funding difficult, but it's not impossible. When you tap in the right places, you will get it. So it's not the ability, it's the lack, their availability. So that's a challenge. They need to avail themselves. The other thing is not just a contentment, because we know when you do great job, you are rewarded. It's a commitment. They're not committed. So I came in this country with one focus. I was a child refugee. I want to support young people. So my focus and has been the same. So I want to make sure that I reach the end of that. So it's not the contentment, it's actually the commitment. But also we want to say it's not a lack of support. It's because we have so much. I think some business community will get confused when they have so much support. Because when I look at what you are able to do, what Henry is doing, I see also what you do in common and what you don't do. You've been very specific about your area of focus, and that Henry's area of focus, and I can see great opportunity. So if I want to stock in the UK and get more prepared to go to Liberia, I'll stock with you. Henry can take me back to Liberia and talk to me about preparing me in Liberia. So it's here. So avail yourself, get a mindset, stop settling for just weekend money for party, persevere, and we will get there.
And so I think you are touching on some sensitive topics, Dr. Bazzie, but let's lean into that conversation. You talked about, the alignment that the Liberian Business Alliance has and the UK-Liberian Chamber of Commerce, where the distinct differences and also where there are synergies. And that's very important in terms of the focuses that we have and why I extended the invitation to Henry this evening. What do you say to the perspective that says Liberians in the UK aren't serious? They're a house divided, and therefore initiatives like the Liberian Business Alliance or the UK-Liberian Chamber of Commerce, these initiatives can't work. What would be the response you have to that perspective? Henry, I'll start with you.
I think to be fair, in every organizations, there are some form of limitations, that are brought on about by various priorities and perspectives. I think every Liberian came to the UK with a different purpose, with an agenda. We shouldn't forget that. And, to make a living, to survive and, escape for whatever reasons why they came into the UK. And so I think to say that, because we all have our personal reasons, and to say that they are lazy could be a bit harsh or maybe unfair. And the reason why I say is that we are living in a community with diverse people, diverse mindsets. And I think what we need to do is to acknowledge the individual differences and sort of like bring that into a unified common purpose. So, for example, with initiative like, again, what you're doing, bringing this unified purpose with set goals, I think that is the only way we can really find out, what people's true capacity or strengths are. And because I am working with Liberians, you're working with Liberians, I wouldn't like to believe that any member of our teams are lazy because they are pushing the agenda day in and day out. But there are a lot of other Liberians out there who don't know otherwise. And I think it is up to us to, because yes, that it's very easy to assume or say that, okay, they are lazy but I mean, from what I can see, I think it's just that lack of unified goal, unified purpose that acknowledges every individual difference and say, okay, you have your differences, but this is the agenda we're working to, and how do we survive? And I think that is what has been lacking, but I don't think Liberians are lazy.
No.
And thanks, Henry. So just going back to the same question, what is your response, Lena, as you're off mute and ready to go, to the perspective that says Liberians aren't serious, they're a house divided, and initiatives like ours won't work?
First of all, I do not feel that we're not serious. Definitely, I don't feel that way. I think I'm going back to, I think I've mentioned that before. I think we do not have a strong business community to support each other. I mean, there are cases where you start a project, you come up with an issue with that project, you face some kind of hurdle with that project, you get frustrated because you haven't got a network to go to guide you through. So you abandon it. But I think organizations as yours, the Liberian Business Alliance, can very much work. Once you're coming in with a strong structure, you've got a committed team, and you'll keep the UK-Liberian business community together. So that's why I'm excited that you're here. And, to start this, I've never met an organization where you come to put the Liberian UK business organization together. I've not seen that yet. And I'm looking forward to seeing how it's going to progress. And I'm sure it's going to, and we're going to be watching. We're going to be taking part as well. And it's good for us. It's good for us.
Thank you. And Dr. Bazzie, same question. What do you say to the perspective that says Liberians are a house divided, aren't serious, initiatives like this won't work?
Thank you. I've worked with Liberians outside Liberia in the refugee camp, a challenging situation. I've seen Liberians across Europe when I do my work in America. I don't think Liberians are lazy people. I think Liberians are serious-minded people. I think Liberians they got huge potential when it comes to business and looking after themselves. The only one issue I have with the Liberians in terms of business is about they're in denial. We need to admit the fact that we need help and get to the professionals who can help us. Okay, we need to understand that certain people know certain things that we don't know. And when we respect them and get them to know what we need, they will help us. So the same thing I would say to, and it will come to the question for professionals who want to support Liberians, when you meet Liberians, we are almost like we want to do everything at the same time. So when they come to you or to me, we need to make sure we have clarity of purpose. You have set your guidelines, and I think people will continue to push that button that you go to Liberia. If you say you are not going to Liberia, stick to it. And we may not like you for it, but that's what you can do. We need Liberians to make sure that they can stick to what they want to do and have clarity of purpose. But if you want to help Liberians, you need to set them targets and get a bigger picture, but take smaller steps. That motivation will stay there. If you let the Liberian person to make the choices on when to do it, where to do it, then we are more likely not to do it, because we jump to another thing that we think is easy and nothing is done.
Thank you. And again, for those of you in the audience, any questions for the panel, please put that in the chat and I will respond. I want to come back to a statement that you made, other thing is quite important, and that seeking expertise if you don't have it, because expertise can come in many different shapes, can come in many different forms. And when I started the event this evening, I talked about the fact that we are making history because we are the first Liberian-led association in the UK and Ireland that's focused on business and professionalism to support the economic development of Liberia. However, many people can support, many Africans can support the economic development of Liberia. And we see that with Mr. Treku, who's leading the UK-Liberian Chamber of Commerce. So in terms of your heritage and your perspective, do you think that a Pan-African approach is fundamental to the development of Liberia?
Yeah, certainly. I think it is. When you look at the concept of Pan-Africanism, I mean, the idea that we Africans have a common purpose, common interests, and regardless of where we are, and that unified approach, I believe would actually help transform our economies quite quickly. Now, I'm going to come onto something here. So let's say, for example, the African economy itself, which with the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, which just started. Now, think about the years that have just gone by. The fact that Africans have not been able to trade together or do business together has underdeveloped most of the countries. Now, what is happening now is that every single African country is a gateway to trade, and this is phenomenal. So it means that African, there's no better time for Africans to realize that, what, I can leave Liberia, I can go to Ghana, and I can go to Burkina Faso, anywhere, and I still don't feel any difference. And I feel this is how we can actually become self-sustainable, and develop our economies better, keep the wealth in Africa, and that by so doing attract, because we have more than enough, think about all these resources. We have more than enough to develop it ourselves. I think this approach, but the Pan-Africanist approach is the best way. Not to mention that those who are looking to trace their roots back into Africa to contribute into the development of African agenda. So these are very significant times. And I think if there's any time at all that every African should feel that, what, the development of Africa goes beyond my country. And if it works well for this country, it has worked. These are the things we should be thinking about. And so, yeah, definitely, I think the Pan-African approach for me, it's always been, and I think I don't see that. I think this is a time really for it.
Thank you. And Lena, I want to ask the question to you, because sometimes there is tension in the Liberian community. So same question, as a Liberian, do you think that the Pan-African approach is fundamental to the development of Liberia?
Definitely. And I'm glad Henry mentioned about the ACFTA, intra-African trade. It's so important. As you rightly say, Africa is so rich well, it's always been rich, and trading with each other. Not only trading with each other, but you get to know about other people, their culture, and I know Liberia is part of the ACFTA. I saw an interview with the Commerce Ministry speaking about that. So I think it's an exciting time for them to be part of this. And it's an exciting time for Africa as a whole for the formation of the ACFTA. So definitely yes.
Thank you. And so shifting focus, who are interested in supporting Liberia, how do you think they should get involved?
Again, I really hope that they're listening today, and I'm sure they will listen again and again. I think we have potential in Liberia. Liberia is great for business, and Liberians are ready. When we're talking about professionals, we want to make sure that they understand the community that they want to go to for business or for whatever they're doing. Please don't just assume that Liberians, we know ourselves and we understand business. Try outside the Liberian, understand Liberians. When you get to understand Liberians, look at their strengths and their weaknesses. When you get there, my advice would be, please make sure that you have a clarity of purpose. We are quick to jump at everything. When you do that, set goals, then prepare people to own their own. It's the same as the Pan-African situation. It is about encouragement. If I go into the Bible, like iron sharpening iron, so one person will sharpen the other person. So it is that kind of a solidarity. When you say with R, then there is if it keeps in with R, then somebody will step in and own your own for you. You need to say, I will, I can. Then definitely you will start seeing things around you to fall into place. So professional, don't give up. Liberians are not lazy people. There's potential in Liberia, and I know you will succeed, and we will all win when they get there.
Thank you. And so let's just talk about some of the key things then, the leadership essentials that's needed to move Liberia forward. And I'm going to pose this question to everybody. What do you think the leadership essentials are for individuals who want to move the economic development of Liberia forward? Again, focusing on leadership essentials. So starting with you, Henry, what are your thoughts?
Well, thank you. I think firstly, I think this might sound surprising, but the first on my list is patriotism. The leaders must love the country. Out of that patriotism, a lot of qualities come out, because firstly, the leaders must understand their mandate to serve, given to them by the people. So in every aspect of their deeds, in every single day, whatever they do must be for the people. And in so doing, that it will be guided by accountability, integrity, good governance. These are skills that means that, you know, I am so concerned about my people, to the fact that it is not about what I gain or the title, but it is about the impact that I made in the lives of these people who gave me the mandate. I think a lot of times, and from what I have seen from leadership in our part of the world, is the forgetfulness that the mandates to serve was actually given to you by the people. So I think the first thing that I would say is that every leader, the first quality every leader must have is their agenda for the people, and in their little ways, in their small communities, by being able to transform the life of the people. This justifies that mandate which have been given to them. I think that is what I'll say. The leadership qualities must be for the people, and that nothing else to add.
Thank you. Lena, same question. Leadership essentials required in terms of moving the economic development of Liberia forward.
Yeah, leadership starts with communication. You know, our leaders must be able to communicate effectively with the people. And also they need to know the people. You know, a good leader knows his team, you know, better than anyone else, which, you know, their strengths, their weaknesses, what makes them tick, what motivates them. So for me, the two things are communication, communicate effectively, and of course, know your people that you're working with.
Thank you. And lastly, your perspective, Dr. Bazzie, leadership essentials for moving the economic development of Liberia forward.
Yes, so I'm glad we got that clear about the economic development. So we need to make sure the relationship between the leaders and the business community is crucial. So when it comes to the Liberian community, we need to make sure that you understand the business community. And if you're going to lead them, if you're going to lead the way. I said again, the clarity of purpose, that means the structure of the tax to keep them motivated, because I know Liberians are very courageous people, but they're easily demotivated. So to keep that motivation, you have to make sure that you have what we call tax behavior. So managing the behavior on the tax, as in business, in training, in preparation and extending that particular area of that. The other thing is the rational behavior. So, as example, the communication. It should not just be you telling people. You don't need to work for the Liberian people. You need to work for the business, with the business community. So there's one thing working with and working for. When you go with the intention of taking the lead from the front and leaving people behind, they will take you very far, but you're going to have a big fall. So work with them, but also with the intention of empowering people to be self-sufficient. If you go selfishly, then they will soon identify and recognize that you are there to take, you are there as a greedy person to take everything, and you will be left alone. So make sure that you have a tax behavior and also the rational behavior. Why are you there? How are you going to do this? When things fall apart, how can you regroup to do what you actually want to do? It's very important.
Thank you. And so I'm coming to my final question to you for the night, and I will ask it just to plant this seed, but also acknowledge some comments, not questions, but comments from the audience. And my final question to you before I go to their comments is, we have been joined tonight by an international audience, some of whom are Liberians, others are government officials, some are investors, and others curious. What is the message you want to leave them with about how we can all be a bridge for the economic development of Liberia? And as you are reflecting on that question, I just want to read Augustine's comment, who says, a leader is, or the essential is someone who knows the sensitive and important needs of the people they want to lead or support. And Chantal's comment was, I think it's important for us in the diaspora to have a stake in policies as we contribute to the economic development through supporting families and businesses at home. That's why it's important for the legislature to push dual citizenship because of the war displacement. Oh, Chantal, that's a whole nother panel. That is not for tonight, but that is another panel, and that is a conversation we absolutely will tackle. Thank you both for your contributions. And so last question, brief remarks from all of our panelists. What is the message you want to leave our audience with about how we can all be a bridge for the economic development of Liberia? And I will start with you, Henry.
Right, thank you. I think Liberia is ready for business. I think going into Liberia with a preconceived minds and extra should not really be the thing. I think we should all come together. I think this is a time for us to think solution. It's not really to talk challenges and things that have, we think solutions. What can we do collectively as individuals? And sometimes, as when we're listening to earlier on submission from Ms. Wewe, the love that we have, or the passion that you have for Liberia must come first. It's not about how, because there's always going to be challenges. So I think with a unified mind in our own little ways, it can be in your little county, putting up a small project there. It doesn't have to be, anything elaborate, but in every individual way and collectively as a group, what can we do which is solution-based, solution-oriented? I think there's the message I have, and if all Liberians out there listening to this and ready to help move the economy forward, there's no time to waste. This is not a time to wait. Join us, join organizations like the Liberian Business Alliance to drive this agenda forward. Ask questions, because we have to participate. We have to get engaged. We cannot stay silent and expect things to happen. We have to get involved.
Thank you. And Dr. Bazzie, what can we all do? How can we all be a bridge to drive the economic development of Liberia forward?
First thing, we can all become a bridge, and it's possible. So we can. But we need to understand in the UK that Liberia is Africa's oldest republic. But we also have bigger link with the UK. Historically, Liberia has, some significant link with the UK. So we have this opportunity to share what we have in the UK in order to move Liberia forward. So don't do this in isolation. It's possible. We have huge awareness here today, but I have seen that LBA is committed to making sure that it plays its part, and it's left with us to join into that and contribute to this bigger development that we are all here. So everybody can do something and everybody must do something, but don't think that because you know one thing, then you can just run with that, because one tree cannot make a forest. And that's the reason why we need to be together here.
Thank you, Dr. Bazzie. And finally, from you, Lena, what are your thoughts? How can we all be a bridge to move the economic development of Liberia forward?
First, I just want to say thank you for this evening. It's been a fantastic evening. Thank you to the panelists as well. Very great information received. For me to end off today, I just want to make a request, of course, to our international partners and to everyone out there, join us in building our capacities. We desperately need capacities in all sector areas in Liberia. We need experienced technical and vocational teachers. They are very much required. And our people need jobs. So however, without the skills to perform the role effectively, the dreams of being self-sufficient remains just that, a dream. So we need as much help as we can get.
Panelists, thank you. Thank you very much for sharing your perspective, for the conversations tonight, and your knowledge and your insight, and also your candor, because I think it's very important for us to have honest and constructive conversations and discourse. That's how we move forward together. So thank you very much for joining us. We are deeply honored that you chose to spend your evening with us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so all good things must come to an end. I am so thankful. My heart is full. I am very happy about the night and everything that has led to this moment. But there are a few thank yous, because we don't come together for a night like this without a team of people. So by order of appearance, I want to first thank Minister Councillor Albert Jaja, who represented the Embassy of Liberia here in the United Kingdom. I would like to thank our keynote speaker, Miss Lena Bowie, for her inspirational words, the inspiration she's been to my personal life, and the inspiration she continues to be to Liberia worldwide. I will say it again, thank you to our panelists, Dr. Reverend Akoi Massayan Bazzie, Mrs. Lena Marshal, and Mr. Henry Treku. Appreciate your perspectives and your candor. Thank you to Tokes Adebanjo Coyle, who is behind the scenes tonight. The slides aren't clicking and things aren't happening by magic. She is there behind the scenes, so thank you very much, Tokes. I would also like to thank Mona Vlee, our social media manager. All of the content that you see across all of our sites is done by Mona. So thank you very much, Mona, for your talent and supporting the Liberian Business Alliance. I also want to take a moment and thank my leadership team, Reverend Dr. Precious Toe and Chris Peters. Iron truly sharpens iron. Your principles, your commitments, values, and support is why we are here today. You are people of your word, of your actions, and your deeds. And thank you very much for being a stellar team that you are. So the Liberian Business Alliance is now formally launched. You can go to our website right now and you can join us free. Our membership is free for the entire 12 months. So join us, get to know the value that we bring to you. And also we want to know the value that you also have that we can share and support and market worldwide. I also want to make the announcement tonight that we want to know who are the top 50 Liberian businesses we should know about in the UK and Ireland. So we will be sending out communications for you to participate and contribute to let us know who the top 50 are that we should know. And we will publish that on an annual basis. And we will also do that with professionals. I also want to take this moment to say thank you to everyone who attended this evening. There is a diversity of audience, diversity of perspective. Thank you for your contributions in the chats, and thank you for the questions that you asked. This type of initiative does not work without your support and your engagement. So Tell everyone wherever they are about the Liberian Business Alliance. Thank you for your continued support. The work now begins. We are launched, we are starting, we are moving forward together, and we hope to see you on the journey as we bring the economic development and prosperity of our darling nation, Liberia, forward. Thank you very much for joining us, and have a great evening.